The transformation of Clara, the unassuming cleaning lady of Ardington Company, into its most powerful figure stunned everyone. It wasn't the kind of change anyone could have foreseen, not in a place as cutthroat and hierarchical as a top firm in the bustling city of Chicago. For years, Clara had been a ghost in the building, visible only to herself, but her quiet endurance, and the secret she carried, would one day shake the very foundation of the company. The building buzzed with the usual early morning hustle as employees hurried in, their coffee cups in hand and voices carrying snippets of meetings, profits, and deadlines. Clara entered with her cleaning cart, her steady pace matching the rhythm she had maintained for years. Dressed in her plain blue uniform, she walked through the halls unnoticed. Her expression was calm and unreadable, as it always was, to the staff and executives. She was just Clara The cleaning lady, a fixture of the office they never truly saw. Clara emptied trash bins, polished glass panels, and swept carpets with meticulous care. The employees, rising managers and ambitious executives, barely glanced at her, let alone spoke to her. A polite nod was rare, an acknowledgment even rarer. She overheard their conversations. Why is she even standing there? Someone had grumbled not long ago when Clara had waited outside a meeting room, broom in hand, ready to clean. Clara's grip tightened on her cart, but her face remained a mask. She'd become adept at swallowing her pride and staying invisible, but she saw and heard everything, and every dismissive comment, every slight, became a stone in the quiet fortress she was building inside herself. They had no idea who she really was or what she was capable of. For over a decade, Clara had worked in the towering skyscraper that housed Ardington Company. The building, with its sleek glass facade, regularly featured in business magazines as a symbol of success. Inside, however, it was a battleground of ambition. Promotions went to the loudest voices, secret deals were made behind closed doors, and mistakes were frequently pinned on subordinates. The workplace thrived on power struggles, while those at the bottom, like Clara and the other support staff, were treated as if they didn't exist. At the top of this toxic hierarchy sat Victor Landon, the CEO. Victor was a commanding presence, with a booming voice that could silence even the boldest employees. His sharp criticisms left no room for dissent. "Why is she still around?" Victor had once said about a senior administrative assistant nearing retirement. "We're not running a charity." Clara had heard it all. She'd seen employees cry after being reprimanded for minor mistakes. She'd watched hard-working colleagues get unfairly terminated, while others who played office politics rose to positions they didn't deserve. That injustices piled up, each one a bitter reminder of the company's lack of humanity. But no one knew the truth about Clara. She wasn't just the cleaning lady. She was Ardington Company's largest shareholder. Clara's late husband, Henry, had been one of the company's earliest investors, back when Ardington was a small startup struggling to find its footing. Henry had believed in its potential. His faith paid off, and by the time the company grew into a major firm, his shares were worth a fortune. When Henry passed away unexpectedly, those shares, a controlling stake, became Clara's. At first, she didn't know what to do with them. She continued her work, unnoticed and underestimated, using her position as a cleaner to observe the company from the inside. Over time, however, she began to formulate a plan. Her breaking point came one evening as she cleaned near the executive lounge. Two senior managers were laughing over drinks, casually discussing an upcoming round of layoffs. "Dead weight," one of them chuckled, dismissing the affected employees as mere numbers on a spreadsheet. Claire clenched her fists, anger bubbling inside her. To them, these people were expendable. They weren't thinking about the lives and families impacted by their decisions. That night, Clara decided she couldn't stay silent any longer. Clara began planning in earnest. Each night, after her work was done, she'd sit at her small kitchen table surrounded by documents. She combed through files she'd discreetly photocopied, analyzing budgets, contracts, an internal email she glimpsed during her cleaning rounds. She noted down every unethical practice she uncovered and pieced together a pattern of corruption and negligence. The more she found, the angrier she became. Clara thought about the employees she'd seen crying in stairwells, their dreams crushed by layoffs or unjust treatment. She remembered the whispered fears of secretaries who had worked late into the night without recognition or overtime pay. She thought of the cleaning staff who were forced to do extra work without fair compensation. Clara carried their voices in her heart as she worked quietly but relentlessly. She reached out to a trusted ally, Jonathan Reeves, a lawyer and former colleague of her late husband. Jonathan had always respected Hemi's integrity and was eager to help Clara carry out her plan. Together, they built an airtight case. Jonathan was impressed by Clara's meticulous notes and determination. "You've got everything you need to make them listen," he told her one night. "Now it's about timing." The day of the shareholders' meeting arrived. The executive team was abuzz with confidence. Victor Landon strode into the boardroom, his usual commanding presence filling the room. The agenda was set, and no one suspected what was about to happen. Clara pushed her cleaning cart through the halls as usual, her heart pounding but her expression calm. She wore her uniform, as she always did, but today she carried a different kind of determination. In her hand was the folder that contained the evidence she and Jonathan had compiled. When she entered the boardroom, heads turned, confused glances flitted around the table. Victor scowled. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. Clara's voice was steady. "I'm here as the majority shareholder," she said, placing the folder on the table. The room fell silent. Victor's face frownsy, his usual confidence replaced by unease. Clara began to speak, her voice unwavering. She outlined the unethical practices, detailed the evidence of fraud, and revealed the systemic mistreatment of employees. She spoke not just as a shareholder, but as someone who had lived through the consequences of the executive's decisions. Victor attempted to interrupt, but Clara silenced him with a firm look. The other board members were stunned. They had underestimated her for years, and now they were faced with the undeniable truth. By the end of the meeting, the board had voted to remove Victor Landon as CEO. Clara's evidence was too compelling to ignore. But Clara's fight didn't end there. Removing Victor was just the beginning. She knew that dismantling the toxic culture he had built would take time and effort. Clara worked tirelessly in the weeks that followed, assembling a new leadership team made up of people who valued integrity and fairness. She introduced policies that prioritized employee well-being and ensured transparency at every level of the company. The changes weren't easy. There were setbacks, resistance, and moments of doubt, but Clara's resolve never wavered. Slowly, the company began to transform. Employees who had once been afraid to speak up found their voices. Workloads were balanced, promotions were based on merit, and the toxic atmosphere that had once defined Ardington Company began to lift. Clara's journey wasn't just about reshaping a company. It was about proving that even the quietest voices could create powerful echoes. As she walked out of the building one evening, the city lights reflecting off the glass tower, she felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known in years. For the first time, the reflection staring back at her wasn't invisible. It was the image of a woman who had reclaimed her narrative and used her strength to uplift others. She hadn't just cleaned a building, had cleansed its soul, and she was just getting started. Thank you for watching until the very end. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more inspiring stories. Have a wonderful day.